What's up, YouTube? Hello, fountain pen people. This is Joe. You're watching Ink and Iron. And today I want to just discuss why you might want to use a fountain pen. This isn't a question I get a lot because I'm kind of a known weirdo amongst my friend group. But this is to just explain a little bit why I use a fountain pen and why you might find it interesting to do so as well. So the first point I'd like to bring up, number one, fountain pens write more smoothly than any other pen I've actually used. Now, I was a ballpoint pen user for a long time, you know the kind, disposable, black, blue, sometimes in other colors. You gotta like scribble a whole bunch to get them started, and they get skippy and weird and run out of ink at random sometimes. So I very quickly moved on to rollerballs in high school, and I have an example here for you. So this was always my preference before I started using fountain pens. This is the Pilot Precise V5. Hopefully you can read that. This is nice. It has like sort of a stick. It's like not like a ball, it's like a little stick on there. That writes more smoothly than any wax-based ballpoint pen I've ever used. So this is what I used for quite a while, and then like right after I graduated from university I discovered fountain pens, and it was a little upsetting because I was like, oh, I could have been using these for years. They are far smoother than the rollerball. This has like a gel ink as opposed to the wax ink in a ballpoint. And then taking it a step further, this is a liquid ink. So this is water-based, and it definitely feels like it because the water kind of lubricates as it goes across the page. Yeah, fountain pens are generally smoother. You can get kind of snubbed by certain pens who, you know, maybe the company didn't finish them quite properly, or you got a junky nib, you know, the 1 in 1,000 nibs that didn't write smoothly. That kind of thing happens, but there are plenty of good pens out there for a pleasant writing experience, and I highly recommend it. I was an English major, so I was taking tons of notes, and I was often, you know, outlining papers by hand, doing that kind of thing. I still do stuff like that, you know, I outline videos and my discussion points, so it's just a smoother writing experience for those who do a whole lot of handwriting. This could also be used in a business context. If you're in meetings and you want something that's going to be pleasant and mildly entertaining during a really super boring business meeting, then I would recommend a fountain pen. The second reason you might consider using fountain pens is that the sheer variety of designs available is like staggering. Obviously, you know, injection molded plastic pens are everywhere, they come in various colors, yada yada yada, but nothing gets the care and attention in terms of like a writing instrument that a fountain pen gets. Let me give you an example here. So here's a Faber-Castell Loom, and you can see we just have this like high polished chromed barrel. We've got a chromed out clip, got this nice like matte metallic blue, and then I actually roughened up this grip section. So normally this would be shiny all the way through, but you can see it's a very interesting design. And let me pull out another one here. This was an everyday carry pen for me for a long time. This is a Kaweco Sport. And yeah, little pen, but fits in a pocket, no problem. And I'll tell you, they are conversation starters. You don't get to pull out a pen like this in public and not have an explanation ready for why you're using it. So if you, like me, are an introvert and kind of like a little bit of help starting conversations with strangers, fountain pens can be a good way to go, especially if you find use for it every day. Yeah, like I said, you'll pull it out and someone will ask you a question, and now you're having a nice conversation, and you have some, you know, you're the one giving information, so you get to kind of lead the conversation, which is always nice. For someone like me who might get a little anxious trying to find a topic that, you know, we both relate to. So yeah, design variety and all the consequences that come with that, which in my experience are pretty positive. And my third point in this discussion of why you might want to use a fountain pen is collectability, actually. So you can get fountain pens in all kinds of materials. Hopefully you can see this brownstone resin that this Conklin All-American comes in, blacked out nib, super cool. There are tons of limited runs of pens, and you can very easily fall down the rabbit hole of collecting. This is a Nemosine Singularity. You can see this is a much less expensive pen, and it still has a lot of cool like colors going on. We've got like a peacock blue, sort of magenta, maybe an orange coral in there on like a black resin. And this is like a $25 pen. That's one reason you might not want to use fountain pens, is they're a bit expensive. But again, collectability, if you're looking for resale value, your average ballpoint is not going to retain any value. Also, in terms of collectability, there are all kinds of pens. Look at this. That's a fountain pen. It's a clicky. So if you're a fidgety type person, there are certainly pens out there for you in terms of fountain pens. This is the Pilot Vanishing Point, review pending, actually. So yeah, those are 3 reasons why you might find occasion to use a fountain pen and to carry one with you every day. I have greatly enjoyed it. I did work as a writer full-time for a little while, did some internships in writing. Yeah, so I found occasion to use it a lot. If you're an artist, that's definitely something that you can consider, because you can get all kinds of inks for these as well. So not only do you have design variety in terms of the pen, you have design variety in terms of like what color ink comes out of it, and also the properties of them. Some of them are like smelly, and some of them are permanent inks, and some wash away. There's all kinds of crazy stuff out there. So it's a pretty fun hobby to get into, a little obscure still, but I feel like it's gaining traction. In conclusion, reasons you might want to use a fountain pen. 1, it's a smoother writing experience for those of you who do a lot of writing by hand. 2, there's a whole bunch of design variety in terms of the pens, and as I mentioned, also in the inks that you're able to use. So that can be really fun if you're just looking for a little variety in your everyday writing, or maybe you're an artist, in which case it's really going to come in handy. And 3, the collectability of the pens. I also collect knives, which don't tend to retain their value because as you use them, they tend to get really worn out. Pens are not that way. You can wear out a nib, but for the most part, if you have a good rotation of pens, you got 4 or 5 pens that you use, they're going to last you your whole life. And then, if you need to lean back on them someday and sell some off for some quick cash, you're going to have the ability to do that. So collectability would be the 3rd thing, the 3rd reason that you might want to use a fountain pen and start a collection of your own. All right, if you found this discussion interesting, please give it a like, share, subscribe if you really like the channel and want to see more content like this. I do have a Patreon, not pushing it too hard. It's just there for the future of the channel or for really generous donors. Anyway, I've been Joe. You've been watching Ink&Iron. Thank you, fountain pen people, for showing up for my videos, and I hope to get some more going. And with that, I will catch you on the next one. Peace out.